Our guest tonight is Haim, and he is an entrepreneur, founder, and investor with over 30 years of experience in founding and leading high-tech companies. Has been the head of the Israel Department of Defense Research and Development Program for many years. Has a lot to offer to us and to the global community of founders around the world. Let's welcome Haim.
Thank you.
Haim, welcome to Eilat, the most southern ecosystem of Israel. Let's start by just addressing that for a second. What do you say about that?
So I think it's amazing. I will tell you, like, we had like a small experience here, like a few minutes ago. We spent some time with some local entrepreneurs. Some of them are in the room now. And I can tell you that the spirit of the team here is different. It's different from those in Tel Aviv or in Jerusalem or in Herzliya, which I know a little bit more. That's my day-to-day life. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit more colorful. But I think what I saw here, I think there was like something like around 10 or 15 different projects here. Very passionate, very nice. I think some of them, from my perspective, have really good way in order to success, and that's really a pleasure being here. I would never imagine that Eilat is going to be a high-tech hub. For me, it's like coming for a vacation. Sometimes I forget that people are living here, and when people are living, there is definitely entrepreneurship. So I really welcome you and thank you for the opportunity to be here with you, and I will do whatever I can to help.
Well, they're saying that if your idea is not crazy enough, it's not revolutionary enough, right? It's not innovative enough. So I think building the most southern hub in Israel is crazy enough. I think it qualifies, and great things are happening here. So let's start getting to know you a little bit. What drew you to the high-tech world? Tell us a little bit about your early stages. What brought you in?
So I want to say that, like in the beginning of my messaging, is like I'm a simple guy. I'm really mean it. It's like there is no difference between us, and we all just simple people. The only way is maybe to educate yourself, to train yourself to think a little bit differently. And I think if I'm going back to my career, I spent most of my career in the Israeli Ministry of Defense. I was like 23, 25 years, around something like that, in the Israeli Ministry of Defense. Most of my career there was leading R&D programs. I was involved in some of the biggest ones that Israel ever made. Some of them are well known, some of them are less. But I really felt from my early career that I am doing a paradigm change in what I do. I was lucky to go into places that I can really change. It was at those times really bring a change, a major change, like doing a thing that really can change the way that we are using our forces and at the end defend our people. I retired like 12 years ago, around 12 years ago, and I think the first answer for our question is like I was looking to move out of my comfort zone. Most of my friends that are retiring from the Ministry of Defense usually are going either to the public servant, around 30% of them I think, and the rest are going to nice positions, either in the homeland security industry, the big companies in Israel, IAI, Rafael, Elbit, things like that. It's actually you are staying in your comfort zone. And I think everyone in this room, which consider himself as an entrepreneur is the one that wants to move out of his comfort zone. Because if you stay in your comfort zone, you will not be an entrepreneur. Okay, it cannot be. Okay, so I think the main driver that really drives me out of this comfort was the fact that I want to move out. And I remember the day that I retired. I drove my car from my office in Tel Aviv to the Shalishut. You know, the Israeli guys knows where it is. Gave back my officer card and drove to my new office in Lod. So I actually, the only time that I had that I was on vacation was let's say hour drive from the Shalishut to Lod, and that's it. And I started actually joined my first company. I remember the day that I went to ACE, bought my first office table, built it myself, and built my first office in the civil life. And I came, you know, from the big deal to do a simple startup guy, and that's it. So moving out of the comfort zone was the first part. Beside that, I want to change. You know, it's like I want to experience other things, other ecosystem, other environment, other language, like other people. Again, there is a big industry in Israel, which is the life science industry. I'm sorry, the homeland security industry, which my first company was there. But I wanted to move out of the system, the governmental system, into entrepreneurship, and I tried to do that, and actually we hit on the first shot, and I am paying the pain for that till today. Once you are successful once, you want to do it again and again and again, and that's where I am now.
Okay, so going out of or challenging the comfort zone. Okay, I think it's a good answer. Let's talk about your experience as the head of R&D in the Homeland Security section. Now that you're out of that, looking back, what do you take back from your days in R&D in Homeland Security to the civilian innovation market?
It's a great question, and I think there are a lot of commonalities between the work that you do in the Ministry of Defense and in the entrepreneurship world. I think that one of the major issues is regulation. So when you are in the Ministry of Defense, there is a lot of regulation. The regulation is very clear. Everyone understands what is that and play by the rules of that. And then you go into let's say the entrepreneurship world, which you think there is no regulation. You think you're free, you can do whatever you like, you invent everything from the beginning, which is totally wrong. Because in anything that you do, there is a type of regulation. Anything that you do, you just need to find it. To find it and make it work for you. Okay? My current company that I am leading is a life science company. Of course, in life sciences, there are a lot of regulation. The first company that I did was a homeland security company. There is ITAR and API and a lot of other, it doesn't matter now, maybe some of you don't aware of that, but there is a lot of regulation. When you learn how to make the regulation work for you and use it as a barrier for your competitors to defend yourself, it is becoming an advantage. So it's like there is a lot of similarities between that. More than that, in the R&D arena, what you really learn when you're doing project in the Ministry of Defense is that every project that you do is a system of systems. Okay? It's complicated. It's much more complicated than you think, because there are so many other ingredients around you. Some of them you don't know. Some of them you know. It's a much more complicated thing that you think it is. And when you're trained to think that way, to understand that everything that you're doing is a system of system team. And you have the tools to do that. You have the culture to do that. You have the language to how to deal with that. Again, it's a great advantage of not understanding that. So it's like there are a lot of similarities. Most of them are very clear and very helpful to what you're doing.
We know that Israel is considered a great hub for R&D, research and development. Many major brands have their R&D centers in Israel. Why do you think that's the case?
So I'm not sure that Israel is the leading R&D hub in the world, but it's definitely one of the leading in innovation. Actually, number 3 in the world. It was like that's the research like a few days ago, positioning Israel as number 3. Switzerland, US, and Israel number 3. I don't know what are the parameters. Maybe it's the patents per capita or something like that. That's innovation, but one of the parameters for innovation. But I'm sure there are others. But the question was why is that? Why are we innovative? And it's like I have I think a good question because a good answer, because I think it's not my answer. I am sure that some of you read the Startup Nation book. I'm sure you did, and those who didn't, I urge you to go and read it. So the Startup Nation book talks about 3 major reasons why we are different and what is driving our innovation. Okay, what is number 1? What is the number 1 driver for our innovation? Do you have an idea for that? Don't say the army. The army is number 2. So what is number 1? You took what? Eilat again. Eilat is the sun. I think it's maybe. I need to wake you up. So number 1 is the never again. Number 1 is the never again. It's something that we have in our back of our mind. Everyone in this room knows what I'm speaking of the never again, okay? And I'm telling you, I don't know you in person, but I'm telling you that your kids are going to understand the never again issue. It drives everything in our life, in a national-wise thinking and in the way that we drive ourselves, okay? So this is, by the book, number 1. Number 2 is, of course, the army. At the age of 18, every boy and girl is going to the army, get a lot of responsibilities, trained, doing a lot of things, being responsible for some other people's lives. Okay, either if it's like even a Shin Gimel in the gate of the Kiryat, or a pilot, or a tanker, or some lady that is watching the radar in Gaza. It doesn't matter. You hold the responsibility, and this responsibility allows you to manage your entrepreneurship later. Okay, and think about it. And the third thing that is said by the book, by the Startup Nation, it's not me, it's the book, is the fact that we admire failures. We have a saying in Hebrew, it says, מי שלא טועה, לא something, מי שלא מנסה לא טועה, right? What is that? It says that we admire failures. If we fail, it means that we tried, we failed, we do our lessons learned, and we go back and try again. If we do the same failure twice, it's stupidity, okay? But we try to avoid that, and failure is okay. So these are the 3 major drivers for innovation: the never again, the army, and admire failures.
Let's talk about your entrepreneurial experience. You built companies and brought them to success, which is not an easy task. I want to try to touch upon the not easy part of those tasks. Please tell us one or a couple of things that you found that were very difficult for you to deal with while you were bringing those companies up.
Okay.
One story or 2, whatever you feel like.
There are endless stories for that.
Yeah. And let's choose one.
And by the way, it's very important to learn from other people's experience, and there are so many stories out there. just do a Google search about failures in entrepreneurship, you would find a lot of them. It's like really a lot of them, and I really urge you, you know, when we did like the workshop before this session, again, I was surprised. Maybe a tip for the hub here. In my companies, even my current company, there are a list of must-read books. Every employee has to read a list of books, you know, that I'm putting in the list. I'm buying enough copies of those books. They are in the library of the company, and you have to read it, okay? Some of them really teach you the experience of others and how to avoid doing mistakes that have been done before, okay? That's the first rule, okay? But I want to answer that question. I think it's a very important question. When you build a company, you are trying to do everything right. However, you don't know what is doing everything right, how to do that, and what are the everything. So you're going into decision. Again, I try to demonstrate it today with the companies that we were working earlier here. Making a decision in the early stage, that's the time when you do the wrong decisions. Because you're so passionate about your ideas, you're chasing the fundraising, chasing the money. Taking the first shekel from the wrong investor can kill the company in the later stage. Just one example. What I'm saying is the early stage of the company is when you do the big mistakes. And the point is that you don't know that you do those mistakes. This is why you need those, you know, mentors and advisors around you to avoid those mistakes. But what I'm trying to say is that building a company, there are 1,000 ways to die. You usually don't know what is one of them that will kill you, and you're trying to avoid them. So there is a list of so many things that you need to make a decision and to do it the right one. So if I really try to let's say to concentrate on maybe the first one or the most important one or the most important two, is like to find the best team that will work with you. The team that is working with you is the most important thing. It's either your partner of building your startup, or even the leading team of the company, because in every company you're not by yourself. You need to bring a team to work together. So this is one thing that is maybe the most important thing, and I think if you ask me what made a success in my previous companies, was always building the right team, okay? The second thing, which is highly important, is to challenge yourself, to understand that you know nothing about your company. You think you know, you don't know. So you need to challenge yourself every time, and the way to challenge yourself is like, I think there are two main ways to challenge it. The first way is to meet the customers. They are the best challenging for yourself. They will tell you the truth. Okay, they are the only one that will tell the truth. They will tell you your product sucks. Okay, they will tell you that. And if they were going to be polite and not tell you that, you will feel it from their body language or something like that. So the customer are the main important thing. The second one, which is very important, is your board. Your board of advisors or board in the company. You need to find a challenging board. If the board agrees in everything that you do, you're in a deep shit. Okay, you're for sure going to die. Okay, so find a board that is really going to ask questions, challenge you all the time. It should be a green light board, not a red light board. Okay, a board that will push you all the time to move forward, and not tell you what not to do, what to do, but at the same time to challenge you, to ask questions, to send you to do some homework and do it again and again and again. That's what we say to you. Okay, and there is of course a long list after that, but I want to save your time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good examples, definitely.
Yeah.
Good things to take. I know that, and you know that many entrepreneurs aim for the exit, for the merger acquisition deal, and I know that you led companies to deals such as these. Looking back from those deals and specifically targeting those type of people who are aiming for those deals and looking at having to go through those deals, what are definitely must not do and must do for entrepreneurs?
Mm-hmm. So I think it's a very, very simple answer for at least half of the question.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need to meet your customers at day one of the company. It's like that's the best assets that you have, is knowing your customers. In most of the time, you think you know them. In most of the time, you're wrong. And even today, when we spoke about the customers here in the room, and I can assure you that most of the companies that we spoke of and think that they know what is the problem or know who are the customers, I am telling you they are wrong. So meet your customer as soon as you can. Advise them. Ask them what is the problem that they confront, what they would like to see. How can you help them? It's very, very important. This is one thing. Second thing, you have to know your collaborators and your competitors. A collaborator and a competitor is absolutely the same. One day is a collaborator, the next day is a competitor, and vice versa. What I'm saying now is actually do a walk. You can, again, I'm taking like an example from my current company, which is wrong. I don't want to do that. But it's a good example. We have a list of, let's say, 100 companies in our environment, in our ecosystem. Some of them are considered to be competitors, some of them considered to be competitors. It doesn't matter. We know those companies very well. We are meeting them at least once a year. I know their CEOs. I know the name of the wife of the CEO or the name of the husband, if it's a lady. I'm actually not really laughing on that. I'm really serious. I know those companies. I'm meeting them, asking them questions, showing them what we are doing, and they are the best advisor that we have. The last thing that I need to say, know the customer, know your ecosystem. The last thing, I think, from day one, when you start a company, you need to know what is your exit strategy. Not because you're aiming to exit. It's like, that's wrong. Don't do that. Build a concrete company. Build your company. The exit will come. Okay, you know and you'll feel when is the right time for that. But you need to understand from day one what is the name of the company that will write the check. That's the level of knowledge that you need to have. And approach this company. Approach it. Talk with them. Listen to their advice. Meet the people. Understand who is making the decision in these companies. And, build your networking there. Build your relationship. They will help you. It's really a must. Okay?
Okay. Go-to-market is a concept that challenges many, many startups. It's a big deal. What is your approach for setting a solid go-to-market strategy?
So again, of course, I'm not going to say again the customer, of course. But again, I think the most important thing to understand is that you don't know. You don't know what is the best way to market. Mm-hmm. The way to do that is again, there are different ways to do that, but I think the main thing to do that is to consult, is to advise others. Usually there are some consulting firms that are specifically dealing with the go-to-market. Again, I can tell you that in each of the companies that I was involved with, we approach this company, and even in my current life, we have a company that we approach. I think let's say after a few months that the company were initiated, we hire the company to advise us on the go-to-market strategy. And now we are 5 years after we start the company, 5.5 years after, we're still consulting those advisors, because first, you don't know, they know. Secondly, they will always tell the truth. It's like you don't know what is the truth. And third thing, which is a very, very important issue, is the market and the customers are changing in a daily basis. We live in an era today that everything is changing every day. It's like, I am sure you're all aware of the singularity theory. Like, we are moving in the speed of light today, and everything is changing, including the market, including the customers. And you need to adopt, you need to understand that your customers are changing. It's much faster than the time it takes you to develop your product. So when you start to develop a product, you think you know the customer, you think you understand the unmet need, still you need to adopt and move fast and to adopt to the real unmet need, which is changing.
Okay, let's speak and look into your perspective from your position as a startup investment, part of the startup investment fund. What are investors looking for? I know that there's a lot of questions like these in forums and conversations such as these, but let's try to find a unique niche of what investors are looking for.
Okay, so I have a good answer for that.
Yeah.
But I want to start. I'm not an investor. It's like I'm an entrepreneur. I'll always go and fundraise for my companies. Maybe I'm always putting the first money, but I'm not an investor. But what I'm involved with and actually leading is a philanthropic fund. It's called the Mirage Foundation. Or we'll have the contact details and the website of this foundation. You can all go in, and I will do my best to at least take one of two of the companies here to join us to the program that we have. So I have a few words about this foundation before I answer the question. It is funded by an American Jew named Paul Mirage. He lives in Orange County in Irvine. He is a very rich guy. He's a billionaire. Did his money. The first company that he sold, name was Chef America. He was the first one to do sandwiches in a vending machine. It was the first company that he sold out. It was sold to Nestle, $2.4 billion. There was no VCs there, no investors. It was only his. And then he did some other things. So it's a really, really billionaire. And what we are doing in this fund is like we are taking 4 times a year a group of Israeli entrepreneurs in different fields of expertise. We are doing once a year, let's say, life sciences. We do once a year new media. We do food tech, fintech, and others. It doesn't matter, omnic security, of course. And we have a unique program for what we call 45 plus, for people that have passed the age of 45, and they have some ideas. It doesn't have to be a new technology or something like that. It's just something that will bring them back to life, into the working life. So it's like, and what we do in the program is, again, I'm saying it's a philanthropic fund. We don't take anything from the entrepreneurs, nothing, no equity, no nothing. We don't care about it. We only want to give, not to take back. And what we're doing with the entrepreneurs is it's a program of 3 stages. The first one is like a quick executive MBA. We do that in UCI and UC Irvine. It's a very nice university in Orange County. When we do a quick like executive MBA, strategy, negotiating, networking, things like that, branding, the major important thing for a startup, how to create a company. The second thing that we are doing is like the specific, things which are fit to the specific group. So if it's, for example, if it's like a life science entrepreneurs, so we do FDA, we do reimbursement, issues that are related to life sciences. And the third thing is the most important thing, which is networking. Actually, we are teaching networking for a full day. In the class, we teach the entrepreneurs how to network. It's really teaching people how to network. It's not only doing the elevator pitch. It's how to manage your networking. It's an art. In the US, it's really an art that sometimes we Israelis miss. But what we are doing with those entrepreneurs, we are doing twice a day. Every lunchtime and every dinner, there is a networking event. And we bring to the room, beside those Israeli entrepreneurs, we bring investors, we bring the industry. Since we know each company what they're looking for, we invite those companies and people from those potential customers to join those evenings for dinner, and we do a networking event. So this is the program itself. As I said, 4 times a year. Every time, something between 15 to 20 companies are coming, all exclusive. We pay for everything besides the flight there, and that's it. So now back to the question. So I believe when we, for every program that we are doing, there are something between 80 to 100 companies applying for the program, and we need to pick up around 15. So the way, what we are looking for, and I think it's true for every investor, is to find the team or the leading of the team that the questions are more important than the answers. The leader of the team that knows to ask the questions and not mainly knows every answer. Those people that knows to listen. Those people that are passionate for questions, not passionate for the answers. Okay? I think that's the most important thing. Always, to the life of your entrepreneur, of your company that you build, ask the questions. So, sometimes you need to bring the answers, but usually there are a lot of people that are supporting you that can help you with the answers. What is really important is the questions. Those people that knows how to ask questions and really care for them, those are the ones that are successful. Think about it. I know it is an unusual answer for this question, but I think it's the honest truth. That's really the driver.
Passion for questions.
Yes.
That's a good one. Okay. So let's try to see. I have a couple questions about approaching investors and thinking from that aspect, because startups need funding at a certain point, and so let's try to address those questions. What would you recommend for entrepreneurs to not do when they approach a potential organization or that can fund them or an investor?
So my answers are long, right, already. So I will do it again. I'm trying to use the time that we have together to give some of the things that I believe. I'm not saying that everything that I'm saying is the right thing to do, but I have some experience which I want to share with you. So I'm urging you to think and to understand that investors or the money is not the most important thing. Fundraising is not the most important thing. If you ask me what is really important before you approach the investors, is the collaborations that we have. Who are your partners outside of the company? If you come to an investor and you have a partner already, someone, a company, I don't know, a customer, an organization that says, you know what, if this technology matures, I'm going to be the customer. Trust me, you don't need to fundraise anymore. It's a done deal. You end your story, okay? Think about it. Not go to fundraise. That's not the most important thing. Find your collaborators. Find your customers. find those that will say, I will buy those products, and take him to your investor. It's a done deal, okay? So this is one thing that I want to correct the question. The question is more important than the answer, right? We learned something today. And now go back to the answer. You cannot knock on someone's door and ask for his check. It will not happen. You need to build your relationship with the potential investors, again, from the early stage. Even if you are a very early stage company, even if you have an idea, knock on their door and tell me, let's advise. I want your advice. What do you think of this idea? Listen, I'm going to do that and that. Let's meet in 2 years from now, okay? After 2 years, when you knock on those doors are going to open wide open for you, okay? In most of the cases, okay? You need to network with these kind of people. The investors are only one part of your ecosystem, and it's a small part, okay? Put them in your mailing list, put them in, send them news, send them Shana Tova or Pesach Sameach, and always invite them to the hub, invite them, go to meet them, keep your relationship with them. That's the way. And then when you need it, they will be there.
We always say here at the hub that early stage companies or founders don't need money. They need connections, they need knowledge, they need guidance, they need mentorship. But again, at a certain point, once they cross that road of creating real value, which I think is the ultimate goal of any real startup, is to create real value for someone somewhere. Once you have that value, what would you say that is the right stage to start saying, I want to go raise money? When should you make it a point to go raise money?
So fundraising is one of the major strategic verticals in a company. Mm-hmm. Because I think you are right on saying that at the end, the only thing that a CEO of a company, a leader of a company is responsible is the value of the company at the end. That's the only thing that you are responsible. Mm-hmm. All the rest of what you're doing is only to support the value of the company at the end. Mm-hmm. And fundraising is a major issue. How you fundraise? Who are your investors? What is the role that they are playing? So again, there are different strategies for that. I cannot do all those strategies in 5 minutes, but I can tell you, it's my belief, okay? The first round, it's always the biggest issue, okay? The hardest one is the first round. And the first round, from my experience, I always did the same drill, was to go into CLA. CLA is a convertible loan agreement. What is the problem of the first round? In the first round, the company is nothing. You have a nice guy, knows how to ask questions, right? Knows how to listen. He's highly educated, he's highly passionate, a nice team. He did the POC, he did like a proof of concept. The unmet need is clear, the customer is known. So what is the value of the company? If you want to fundraise, let's say 100,000 shekels, what is the valuation of the company, right? The next question is, what is the valuation? In any sense, any case, one part of the deal, either the entrepreneur or the investor, will feel that he was pickpocketed. He was like someone kiesoto, okay? Because you cannot find a real valuation for the company. It's something that you cannot evaluate. So the way to do that is say there is no valuation. The valuation is going to be in the next round. And if you give me a money now, you give me a loan. It's a convertible loan. It's convertible into equity loan, and the valuation of the company is going to be determined on the next round, and you will get a discount, a premium on the next round valuation. It's a technique that is very common, which allows you to feel that your investor is going to be happy, you're going to be happy, and it's easy to fundraise because you don't have to close a round today. You can leave the round open for a year or something, always bring new investors in, and bring a formula that, let's say, the early investors will get more shares, the late investors will get less because they take less risk, and so on and so on. Okay? So this is, I believe, the best strategy for starting a very early stage company. More than that, there are other opportunities, of course. I will not approach the VCs. The VCs, venture capital, they hate risk. There is no venture capital that will invest if there is a risk. If there is a risk, they will not invest. Okay, so it's the opposite of their name. It's not a venture capital, they hate risk. Investors hate risk. So don't go to those kinds of guys. It's mainly, and specifically in Israel, we have I don't know if you're aware of the angel law. You know what is the angel law? You know what is the angel law? You know what is the angel law? חוק האנג'לים? Wow. I need to educate you. So let me give you one sentence about that. By the Israeli law, every private guy, every private person, not a company, that wants to invest in a technology company, like in a technology startup, can deduce his investment out of his personal income tax. So, for example, if someone is a teacher in school, okay, just taking a crazy example, and she is, let's say, she's a lady, and she's paying, 50,000 shekels a year for an income tax. She can invest in a startup company 50,000 shekels this year, and she will not pay any tax. Okay? So she's putting her money in risk, but she's not paying tax for that. So that's the angel law. Do חוק האנג'לים in Google. You'll find the rules for that. There are certain rules for that. Not every company. You need to be an R&D company, a recognized R&D company. There are certain rules for that. But once you do that, it's very, very easy, and it's a very, very easy way to fundraise. There are a lot of government support in Israel, starting from it's not the Office of Chief Scientist, it's the רשות החדשנות. It's called today רשות החדשנות. There is a lot of programs there that will support the early stage of the company. Much easy, no equity. They are really supportive. It's really easy to get it, and it's very nice to have it. They are very nice people. They will be happy, very happy to drive to Eilat to evaluate you. I promise you that. And so there is a really great variety of fundraising in Israel because of the angel laws and other opportunities. The big issue is the next round. When you do the early stage, I'm telling you, it's easy. Okay? Next round or the third round of fundraising, it's really, really hard in Israeli because we are Israelis. And sometimes, investors outside of Israel don't like us and things like that. It is happening. Sometimes it's the opposite way. But you need to know how to drive your way. I know I'm speaking a lot. I'm sorry for that.
That's okay. Two last questions.
Okay.
Let's talk about the mix for an early stage company. I know they're always talking about the mix of technology, the technology, the market, and the team, right? So let's talk about the mix for an early stage company. Okay, what is a good mix to get going?
So again, my opinion is a little bit different than that. I know it's non-conventional, but I'm telling you that from my perspective, it's all about business. So it's 80% business, and the rest is the rest. When I'm speaking about business, again, what is the most important thing when building a company?
Unmet problem.
Ah, great. What is the unmet need? What is the specific problem that we are solving? That's the most important thing to understand. I will tell you that. It will take you a year. It will take you a year to understand what is really the specific unmet need that you are solving. You need to meet the customer, you need to meet the market, you need to do a lot of homework to really understand what is the unmet need that you are solving. Okay? What is number two? Not you. What is number two? I'm going home. Yeah, the customers. Number two is who is the customer. Again, a specific definition. Who is the customer? Okay, you think you know who is the customer? Let's check. Okay, I'm not sure. And what is number three?
MVP.
What?
MVP.
What is that? Maybe, but we spoke about something else. No.
Lowest fruit.
Yeah, the low-hanging fruit. What is the low-hanging fruit? Don't waste your time on the highest fruit in the tree. Ask yourself which fruit in the tree is I'm just taking my hand, take the fruit and eat it. That's it. Don't work hard. Okay? So there are some other questions, of course. You need to have a team, you need to the technology. But if you really know how to answer those three questions in your first 2-3 slides, you're on. If you are not with a good answer for that, you're off. You're going to waste your time and waste your investors' time too. Okay? Don't do that. What is the specific unmet need? Who are the customers? And what is the low-hanging fruit? Work on that. There are techniques how to work on that, how to understand it. That's the most important thing.
Okay. So to finish off, we would like to try to send anyone who views this video and the group that sits with us today, obviously, with a clear set of recommendations or tools, right, of what to do tomorrow morning, or even this evening or this night, because we know entrepreneurs never sleep, right? But what can or should an entrepreneur do every single day to make sure they're one step closer to where they want to be?
Challenging team, challenging board, challenging mentor, challenging surroundings. Asking questions, challenging. That's the best way to survive.
Challenging team means that choose a team that challenges you.
Yes.
Or each other.
Each other,
yeah.
Mainly you. At the end,
avoid yes men. That's what we say.
Of course, but not only yes men. It's like people that really don't accept what you're saying.
Yeah.
Every word that you are saying, they're going to say the opposite. Okay, there are some certain people like that they are brave. They know that you are the boss, right? Still, everything that you say, they will say the opposite. Those people will save your life, not your life personally, but the life of the company.
First of all, Chaim, I think it was a very interesting conversation. I tried, as we spoke, I tried to write down in a word or two a summarization of your points. I want to just run through them and try to see what we can make of it.
Okay, perfect.
Let's see what we have, right? Comfort zone, or challenge the comfort zone. Watch for regulations. Never again. Responsibility. Fail. Best team. Challenge yourself. Speak to clients fast. Know your partners, the players in your field. Consult and test. Advise. Seek advice. The passion for questions, not answers. Fundraising is not the goal. I also wrote CLA, an option, don't forget. And start early, challenge. But I think if I take all these things and I summarize them, I think the overwhelming word is challenge.
Yeah.
Challenge yourself, challenge the team, challenge the
Of course,
market.
but I want to add another thing to that. Another thing that is not written there.
Okay,
You need to integrate all of it.
okay.
That's it.
Integrate.
You need to integrate all of it.
Integrate. Okay.
Okay? Don't take it as a tip, as a list of tips.
Yep.
Integrate them. Do all of them together.
Okay.
It's
Haim,
hard, I know.
I think if it's not a difficult mission, then maybe the goal is not worth it. But
Uh,
I think that was a very informative conversation. I want to thank you for all these points and tips, and don't forget to integrate all of them. And hopefully these words are going to help many entrepreneurs that are going to watch this video. I want to thank you everyone for coming, and thank Chaim for coming.